On tonight's CTV News, a local woman makes a stand against a corporate giant. We find out what happened to some of the city's timepieces post-quake and learn why craft beers are all the rage with Cantabrians. This is CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. A local woman locked herself in her car and parked it in the middle of a construction site to make a stand against a large corporation.
Frustration led one local to take a stand against Telecom this morning. Karen Crisp was upset about the phone provider's decision to build a cell phone tower outside of her shop.
Because I couldn't see any other way to try and delay the construction being done.
Telecom received consent from the Christchurch City Council, but no consultation or warning had been given to the local business owners. Mrs Crisp believes the construction of the tower would affect the community.
It is a place that is designed for our community, for our patients, for our customers, and our school children, when they walk along here. This is a really busy intersection and this space is used, and that's what it was designed for.
And she was making a stand to show community comes first.
I own the community pharmacy here. This is our local community block of shops. I live in the area. If no one else will fight for the community, we have to.
Mrs Crisp had planned to keep her car parked on the corner as long as it took to reach a compromise. But by this afternoon, Jerry Brownlee had stepped in to help her out.
He also thought it was unreasonable where they were putting it. It didn't make any sense at all. And so whatever he said has certainly helped to secure this compromise.
Construction on the site has been left at a standstill while Telecom finds a new place for the cell phone towers.
Telecom have indicated that this is the area where they'll put the box, which makes sense because obviously it's a utility type area. I would like to think that maybe they would look at working together with Telecom and the council to maybe take this out and then put the instrument box there, and then maybe handbills could be plastered on that. That would make sense.
Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Save the Majestic Theatre protesters aren't giving up the fight. The group are preparing for another protest over the weekend to gather more support for their cause.
Last week they marched through the streets standing up for a cause they believed in. But this weekend they will do it all again as an attempt to save the Majestic Theatre. The Christchurch Central Development Unit plan to pull the theatre down, making way for the Blueprint's plans to widen Manchester Street. The theatre also has the backing of the Christchurch City Council, who tried to sway the CCDU that keeping the building would benefit the community. The protest being held tomorrow by the group will show the extent of the city's loss of heritage buildings in Christchurch. They plan to march from Cathedral Junction through to Majestic Theatre.
13 new cycleways will be built in Christchurch. One of the world's leading experts is in town to advise the Christchurch City Council.
Dozens of commuters take to the cycleways each day, but the Christchurch City Council and the Christchurch Central Development Unit are hoping to change the culture of cyclists in the next 5 years to encourage more getting out on the roads.
We've got to build that high quality, otherwise we won't get people to shift. We won't get the range of cyclists that you saw before actually being happy on their bikes.
Netherlands are the leaders in the world for their cycle networks, and a visiting Dutch expert has been lending a hand to the city with advice on how to make our roads as user-friendly as their own.
I think we should realise that we shouldn't do it overnight. If we do it overnight, it will be not future-proof, it will not be consistent, and it will not be a success.
He believes Christchurch is in an ideal position to have almost half of the city using cycleways.
The climate is ideal, you have a flat area, and if I can compare it to the Netherlands, where we actually have about 40% of the people moving around on a bike. So I think the same can be achieved over here, but it will take some time.
But while Mr De Jong is only in town for the week, he finds the current state of our local roads not ideal for cycling.
Sometimes I'm really scared and I jump on the footpath. There's scope for improvement, and I think this program is going to give that improvement.
The network will connect suburbs, schools, businesses and shopping areas together, and Councillor Phil Clearwater believes Mr De Jong's advice will help Christchurch lead the country with their cycling networks.
I think we have, with Leo, people like Leo, we've got top international expertise advising us. We've got cycling experts here as well, so put that together and we're going to get a fantastic result.
Almost $70 million is being spent on the networks as part of the council's push to get people out of cars and onto bikes.
So a motorway looks like you can go faster. These roads we want to make them look like you go slower, therefore make it safer for cyclists.
But the public have had their say on the cycle network. More than 200 voted on the names of the cycleways. The winners were voted by council yesterday, with Papanui Parallel, Wheel to Wings and Norwest Arc some of the favourites. The council also worked with Ngāi Tahu on bilingual signs as well.
I think having bilingual names is really forward thinking, and people will like that. It has some meaning for our city.
The cycle network is set to be developed around the city within the next 5 years. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Driving on the roads of Canterbury may not be as safe as we first thought. New figures show Christchurch is riddled with some dangerous intersections. Emma Cropper took to the streets to investigate what the locals think about it.
Christchurch has some of the most dangerous intersections in the country. The New Zealand Transport Agency released the top 100 worst intersections in New Zealand, and Christchurch was well represented with 14 on the list. The NZTA says multi-million-dollar plans to fix many of the intersections will begin at the end of the year. Russley Road and Memorial Avenue was identified as our city's most dangerous. A Memorial Avenue flyover will deal with the issue, taking the north to south traffic over the top of those coming from the airport. The project will tackle the most dangerous intersections as part of its motorway upgrade project, but the remainder of the cash will have to come from the Christchurch City Council. Auckland took the top spot as the most dangerous intersection. CTV News took to the streets to see what they thought of the dangerous roads in Christchurch.
I haven't had an accident for many years, but I'll tell you what, they are dangerous intersections, very dangerous, especially on a push bike. There's that much heavy traffic on the road, you've just got to be careful.
I think it's fine. It's, not a big problem.
It's up to the drivers of the vehicles, isn't it? You know that.
Yeah, well, the intersection is getting more flood packed in that. Yeah, I don't feel it's dangerous.
It is very dangerous, especially intersection. We don't know if the cars see you or take care of you.
Oh, how they can solve the problem, but I believe that in many ways quite a few of those intersections should have lights.
Waireki Road, down where I live near Graham's Road there, that's tragic. I hear them all the time. I see people just speeding through, people talking on their phones. Yeah.
Craft beers and microbrewing have become major hobbies for many people in Christchurch. This weekend they'll be heading to the Great Kiwi Beer Festival.
Many new brands start out in a garage. Oliver Drake spends 20 hours a week in his garage brewing all sorts of ideas. It might seem like a lot of time, but it's also a lot of beer.
Put a 20-litre brew down every week or every 2 weeks, and then just, swap it with mates.
This isn't Oliver Drake's profession, but it is his passion. We all like a good drink, but what makes us want to knock them out and not just knock them back?
I've always sort of liked cooking, and I studied engineering here at Canterbury. And brewing is kind of a combination of sort of sciencey type stuff and, getting creative and making things that taste good, hopefully.
Oliver runs his brewery right in his house. Some brewers are slightly larger scale. Ralph Bungard's had Three Boys Brewery for a decade now. He says Canterbury's always been beer country.
I think Christchurch probably has been a traditional brew place because of the malt we grow here. I mean, we used to have malt works in Canterbury as well. We still do down in Dunsandel. So it's a traditional brewing area, good water, good malt.
Lately, craft beers have been experiencing a renaissance. Post-Quake, there's been more space for new breweries and more demand from customers.
What's happened in the city, a lot of people are now wanting craft beer, and there's a lot more spaces for people to open up little breweries, and especially with the bar scene, because a lot of bars fell down, so they're getting rebuilt, and when they're redoing their lines and that thing like, they're thinking, well, we're going to have craft beer on as well.
Both brewers agree there's a thirst for something new.
We've been going for 10 years and we've grown well over all those 10 years, and it's a popular thing. It's a sort of renaissance of beer in a way. People are really looking for something different and something exciting in their beer.
And they say that's going against the normal trend for most beers.
A larger section of the beer market has been contracting over decades more than anything else, and the only growing sector is that craft sector. And that's encouraged a lot of small breweries to come into that.
Markets and customers aside, for some it's just about sharing a drink with their mates.
I've met heaps of great people through it, so it's great swapping beers with people and talking about brewing with people that like beer and craft beer and stuff like that.
The Great Kiwi Beer Festival takes place in Hagley Park tomorrow, where pints like these will be shared by thousands.
Coming up, we find out what's happened to all the city's clocks.
Kickoff is pure Bundesliga soccer, the real thing, featuring all the games, all the goals, every week. Kickoff, Sunday 12 noon, right here on CTV.
Are you looking for more from your local channel? CTV are online. Our latest listings, on-demand shows, program information, all on the CTV website. We'll see you there.
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measuring quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom. 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to Stay Well Pharmacy. Whatever the season, Stay Well Pharmacy has you covered. As an integrated pharmacy, we stock all the well-known pharmacy medicines, as well as quality nutritional and herbal treatments. Our team of pharmacists and full-time naturopath are here to help you find the products and advice to suit the needs of you and your family. So come in and see us at Stay Well Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road in Hornby. Stay Well Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
You right, mate? Can you hear me? Hey, you, can you hear me? Can you help me? I need you to call 111 for an ambulance.
If an accident happens and you didn't know what to do, prepare for what could be the longest wait of your life. Know when before you need it. Call 0800 Red Cross and enrol in a Red Cross first aid course today.
Ready to go, mate? Flight leaves at 4:30.
Relax, mate. We'll park at Airpark Canterbury.
Airpark Canterbury, privately owned and operated with a free 24/7 shuttle service. Call 0800 Airpark or book online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
Tomorrow Today is your science program, presenting a comprehensive overview of the latest trends in science and research. Tomorrow Today, Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m, right here on CTV.
When the big earthquakes hit, time literally came to a standstill for many of the city's clocks. Marcus Gibbs found out what happened to some of the big timepieces that crystallised the moment the earth shook.
February 22nd, 2011 is known as the day the ground shook, but it's also the day time stopped. For generations, people used these clocks to tell the time, but the earthquake left them broken and shattered. One of the more famous clocks was built into the Morehouse Avenue railway station tower. That building's gone now. It was demolished following the earthquakes.
It was rather strange after the earthquake and the building was demolished to sort of drive over the overhead bridge at Colombo Street there and not see the building there, because it was a large, imposing building.
But fans of the clock might recognise these two faces. Both are more than 120 years old and were salvaged during the building's demolition. Parts of the famous clock can now be found inside Quake City, an earthquake museum and Restart Mall.
When you look up at the clock tower from 7 floors down in a car, they don't look that impressive, but when you sort of look at them here up on the wall, they're pretty big clock faces.
There's hope that Science Alive will use all four faces in the design of a new building, if the organisation moves back into the city centre. Next time you're travelling down Ferry Road, you'll end up driving past this odd-end shop. It's home to hundreds, if not thousands, of forgotten treasures. It's also where I found another old favourite clock, almost completely intact. The huge face used to sit on top of the MED building on the corner of Manchester and Armagh Streets. It was once home to Orion before it was damaged in the earthquakes and demolished. As soon as he saw the clock, the owner of the Chaos Yard knew he had to save it.
Well, it's just Manchester Street, MED building, great Art Deco building. Gone, it's just a wonderful piece of Art Deco, really.
These two were visiting the shop in the hunt for a bargain and were shocked to find the massive clock.
I think it's enormous. I think, yeah, it's a really neat piece. It's nice to preserve a bit of the past, and I think it's a very impressive clock.
But why is a clock like this sitting at the back of a second-hand store with its hands frozen in time?
Well, I wanted to put it out the front, but unfortunately when we looked into it, because of its weight, possibly about 3 tonne, they were talking about screw piles, and we're only a wee small business, and we just can't afford to do it, really.
So instead it will sit at the back of the yard until a new home is found. Heritage consultant Jenny May has been working on all of the Christchurch City Council clocks. She hopes it will tick and tock once more.
What's exciting is that you have found it, and that gives the opportunity for it to be put on display somewhere and be recognised again.
But while some clock towers may have been completely knocked down, others are still standing. Last year CTV News filmed the Edmund Clock Tower on Cambridge Terrace. This footage shows it sitting in several pieces while work was carried out. The man in charge of that repair work is also in charge of fixing dozens of broken clocks around the city. One of the more prominent ones sits at the top of the Victoria Street Clock Tower.
I know this clock very well, and it's great to have had it going and having it timed and running very well. The challenge now is to get it back to keeping good time, and these clocks don't like earthquakes. I've had a bit of trouble with New Brighton and Sumner. They're still a bit erratic in trying to get the time right on them.
Malcolm Lyle's clock mad. He's better known for his work as a Selwyn District Councillor, but today he's finishing the repairs to the Victoria Street clock. It's remarkable technology, last updated in the 1930s.
Over the years I've been privileged to be able to work on these, and of course now that the Gents Clock Company went out of business in 1987, any parts we need I have to make, so that creates some interesting conundrums at times.
The Victoria Street clock is one of the city's most important icons. It was first built in the 1860s on the Provincial Council building site. After being dismantled and left in storage, it was rebuilt on the intersection of High, Litchfield and Manchester streets. But due to traffic congestion, it was moved to the corner of Victoria and Salisbury streets.
Clocks like this are very much part of our history because they were often a thing that was built as a commemorative thing or a memorial thing.
It's quite amazing to watch the repaired clock in action.
This would be pulling on these teeth, turning a drive gear here, running through these bevels and driving to the clock.
Christchurch's clock towers might no longer have the same meaning they once had, but they're just as important today as they were 100 odd years ago.
These become historical monuments rather than timepieces that everybody needed in the days you had to wind your watch.
They're still useful though, at least for commuters, checking to make sure they're not late to work. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
This weekend is Neighbours Day Aotearoa, which focuses on communities getting to know each other. Organisers say it's a fantastic way to meet the people you live by and to create safer communities.
This year, the group's saying that getting to know your neighbour is a piece of cake. They're encouraging neighbours in Canterbury to pop in on each other and share baking to form closer ties. Darfield Library will be hosting a range of activities tomorrow from 9:30 in the morning to 12:30, and locals are invited to come along and share morning tea. Welcome packs will be available for new residents, as well as civil defence information. The initiative is all about turning streets into neighbourhoods and making communities safer. To find out more about the event, visit www.neighboursday.org.nz.
Still to come, we have the weekend sport, traffic and weather updates.
I'm Chris Lynch. Join me for CTV's new current affairs show Lynched every Monday at 8:30 right here on CTV, where I talk to the decision makers and those responsible for running our city.
Hurst Auto Dismantlers, your one-stop shop for all your mechanical and car part needs. Our huge premises boasts a large selection of mechanical parts, panels, tyres and glass. Most makes and models are available on site, and if we don't have it, our trusted staff will do their best to source what you need locally and nationwide. So come in and see the team, or just give us a call and save time and money. Hurst Auto Dismantlers, 343 0099.
Our new companion package is a personalised service for those that need extra help and support. A cost-effective solution for someone who needs more than just a taxi driver. Our drivers are handpicked from our experienced team and specialise in providing the right support and companionship. Home safe every time with Blue Star Taxis.
Have you seen something you like? You can purchase a copy of CTV's own shows so you can watch them again and again. So give us a call on 3777 033 and order a copy today.
Do you wear an earpiece or earmuffs? Do you have trouble hearing people or the TV? Do you have itchy ears? Then it's time to clear the air. Their gentle micro-suction technique is not only safe and efficient, but it's also performed by fully qualified, trained, registered nurse. Call for an appointment or Clear the Air can come to you. Need earplugs? We have swim, noise or aeroplane plugs and many more. No referrals necessary. Hear every moment with Clear the Air. Phone 0800 Ear Clean.
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility.
Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference more mobility makes.
The world has a great deal to tell. Journalists from across the world report on their home nations and the experiences of the people who live there. World Stories.
With the week at an end, here's a preview of the upcoming weekend's sporting action.
The Crusaders are back in action tonight, fresh from their bye last weekend, as they are at home to take on the Wellington Hurricanes in a potentially crucial conference match. A win for the Crusaders would see them back in the playoff hunt after starting their season with 2 wins and 2 losses. The most concerning stat for the Crusaders, though, isn't their win column, but rather the fact the team has only managed to immerse 6 tries in their 4 games and are yet to look like registering a bonus point win, with many questions being asked about the Crusaders' tactics on attack. Should the Crusaders lose tonight's match, they would put themselves at the bottom of the New Zealand Conference, ahead of a 2-match trip to South Africa before they take on the Chiefs in Hamilton. The run of fixtures to come can only add to the need for the lads to get the win tonight, as Toddy and the boys look to put some of the early season critics to bed. Tonight's match gets underway at 7:25 from AMI Stadium. The Canterbury Wizards leapfrogged Northern Districts on Wednesday with a bonus point win to put themselves at the top of the Ford Trophy 50-over domestic cricket competition going into the playoffs. Canterbury bowler Ryan McCone was the hero as he registered the best domestic one-day bowling figures in Canterbury history, taking 6 for 19 from his 10 overs as Canterbury rolled ND for just 119. The Canterbury top order made easy work of the total, never looking in trouble as they knocked off the runs in their 27th over. Canterbury will now take on Northern again at Hagley Oval on Sunday in the 1v2 playoff game, with the winner gaining home advantage and going directly to the final, while the loser will take on the winner of the 3v4 match to decide the second finalist. After winning this year's 4-day competition and narrowly missing out on a spot in the 2020 final, a home final in next weekend's 50-over comp would be the perfect way to end what has been a successful year for Canterbury cricket. Sunday's playoff match gets underway at 10 a.m. at Hagley. And finally tonight, bragging rights will be up for grabs tomorrow when the country's top 2 men's shot putters take on each other in Wellington. Timaru's Tom Walsh has been installed as the favourite with a strong run of form coming into the weekend's meet. His opponent Jack O'Gill, however, has been a mystery man of late, as it will be the former World Junior Champion's first event of the season. Walsh qualified for the Glasgow Commonwealth Games with a throw of 21.16 metres, while Gill's personal best is just 20.38 metres. However, that was recorded 2 years ago when he defeated Walsh at their previous meeting. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's traffic update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, enjoy your weekend on the roads. From Monday there will be a few changes. Major work starts at the intersection of Kilmore and Victoria Street for 2 weeks. Kilmore Street will be closed to all traffic between Durham Street North and Cranmer Square East. Victoria Street will be closed to northbound traffic between Kilmore Street and Peterborough. Durham Street North is reduced to 1 lane around the intersection. We recommend westbound traffic to turn right into Colombo Street from Kilmore to continue northbound. Stay tuned this week for more updates on what's happening with the Central City roads, and in the meantime visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
Well, this week's weather music was by the Thievery Corporation from their album The Richest Man in Babylon. It's Friday, which means it's the last time tonight you'll be hearing that music, because next week we'll have some new music for you. But what will the music be? If you'd like to tell us, or if you've got some suggestions as to what you think that music should be, you've still got time to send them in to us. So flick us an email or go on Facebook and let us know what you think the weather music should be from Monday of next week. Well, that's then. Right now, of course, you're all dying to know what the weather's going to be like over the weekend, so let's check out your regional weather.
Kia ora Canterbury, let's take a look at today's temperatures. Starting with Timaru receiving 19 today, Geraldine and Temuka on 21. Leeston, Rolleston and Lincoln received 19, as did Christchurch. North Cantabs, living in Rangiora and Kaipoi, you enjoyed 21 degrees, and the same there in Amberley. Culverden, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot got the high for Canterbury on 22, and up the top there in Kaikoura reaching 19 degrees. Let's take a look at the weather for Saturday. Timaru, fine day for you. The cloud will increase during the day and you can expect northeasterly winds. A low of 7 overnight with 19 as your high for Saturday. Ashburton, a fine Saturday ahead. It may be fresh to start with for early morning market shoppers with an overnight low of 7 tonight. Higher cloud is set to increase during the day and northeasterly winds will develop. Tomorrow your high is 19 degrees. Christchurch a little cooler tonight, so you may want to wrap up if you're heading to AMI to cheer on the lads. Tomorrow's weather is looking moderate for anyone attending the Beer Festival in Hagley Park. No rain but some high cloud and northeasterly breezes. Tonight's low 7 and Saturday expect 19 degrees. Further up the east coast in Kaikoura, you can look forward to a fine moderate day also, with higher cloud increasing during the day and northeasterly winds expected there. An overnight low of 7 tonight with 19 degrees for Saturday. And let's take a look at the weather in other areas in Canterbury. Geraldine and Temuka, cloud expected with a low of 5 and a high of 19 degrees. Methven, a high of 19 for you also, and the same for Rakaia and Darfield. Leeston, Rolleston and Lincoln, a low of 7 and all on 19 degrees tomorrow. North Canterbury, overnight low of 7, while tomorrow it will be cloudy but look forward to a moderate 21 degrees. And Culverden, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot looking fine on a warm 24 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury, fine with high cloud from Sunday through to Wednesday, moderate northeasterlies with temperatures about average for this time of year. Areas of fog possible at night, but mostly fine and sunny with mild temperatures and light northerly winds on Thursday. And that's your local weather outlook for today. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend.
And clearly that music wasn't the Thievery Corporation, it was Sassons. It's clearly confused, so am I, but it is Friday, so let's call it a week. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.